Okay, I think we're gonna get started. We all take our seats.
I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Oh, we can start.
Go stop.
I'll tell you, I don't know, you've had a turnaround. I don't know what's going on.
He got lost, actually.
This is, I mean, it's a couple days in a row, number one. All right, here we go. Senate Bill 1007.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Distinguished colleagues of the Budget and Taxation Committee, for the
Can we
record.
get the chatter down in the back, please? And close that door, maybe? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 1007 is a pre-authorization bill, a prior authorization bill. What it does is just extends projects and makes modifications based on what senators want. It doesn't reappropriate money. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Thank you very much. Um, 130, House Bill 139.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Butler. I'm the Chief of Staff for Delegate Rogers. Delegate Rogers is on his way from an ECM voting session. We'll be presenting.
Good afternoon, Chair Gazone, Vice Chair Brosepep, and members of the Budget Taxation Committee. My name is Nithya Rao. I'm an intern from the Office of Delegate Rogers, and I respectfully request a favorable report of HB 139. The purpose of this bill is to establish a sales-free tax day on Veterans Day for veterans who have served in the armed uniformed services of the United States. The relief would only apply if the taxable price of the item for sale is $2,000 or less. Furthermore, the comptroller maintains sole discretion to suspend the tax-free day. Within its border, Maryland has 20 military installations that make up a key part of the state's economy. According to the Maryland Department of Veterans and Military Families, Maryland is home to nearly 360,000 veterans and 100,000 active duty service members, reservists, National Guard, and dependents. A tax-free day on November 11th would not only provide a tangible benefit in form of financial relief, but also serve as a public acknowledgement of their service. It is a small yet powerful way to say thank you to our veterans, letting them know that their sacrifices are recognized and valued. The concept of a tax-free day is not new to Maryland. Each year, the Comptroller's Office and numerous retailers successfully implement a tax-free week dedicated to supporting parents and teachers during back-to-school season in August. Similarly, the bill could positively impact the economy by encouraging spending within our state. Veterans who might otherwise refrain from making certain purchases would be incentivized to spend more, knowing they are exempt from sales tax on this day. The increase in spending would not only benefit the veterans, but also stimulate local businesses and, by extension, the state's economy. Maryland can do more for those who sacrifice so much by serving. HB 139 represents an opportunity for Maryland to lead by example in showing gratitude to our veterans. With minimum fiscal impact, it's a practical measure that offers financial support, stimulates the economy, and most importantly, serves as a symbol for our collective appreciation for those who have served with honor. HB 139 will set Maryland apart in the region as the only state offering tax exemption day for veterans. We can and must do more by our brave men and women. I respectfully request a favorable report of HB 139.
Thank you. Questions? Good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Okay, we're going to now take Senate Bill 960, Senator Rosepep, and sort of in tandem or right after House Bill 1430, Delegate Chang.
Mr. Chairman, this bill was put on the schedule last night, which I deeply appreciate, but I have potential witnesses saying they weren't able to sign up. If I have some witnesses here, can I ask them to come up and join me?
Sure.
If any of the witnesses are here, please come up and join me. If you aren't, given the short notice, I understand.
Yeah, we have some witnesses for the House bill.
Either way, we're fine.
Yep.
So let me just dive in here.
Yep.
This is an issue we've dealt with before. We've passed similar legislation in the past. The House has not passed it. This year, the House has passed legislation. That's Delegate Chang's legislation we'll be hearing about. And basically what it's about is to provide modest funding to charter schools in the state to help with their facilities costs. Under existing law and practice, non-charter public schools basically get their school buildings for free through the school construction program from state money and county money. Charter schools, on the other hand, are required to pay for the facilities costs out of their operating costs. And so, on average, charter schools spend 10 to as much as 18% of their operating money on facilities, which means there's less money for teachers, less money for programs, less money for after school, less money for athletics than there would be in a traditional public school. So what this bill and Delegate Chang's designed to do is provide a little help and a little more equity to the public charter schools. This bill, as drafted, would provide $1,600 per child in a charter school to the charter school. That's a model DC uses to fund facilities for charter schools. Other states do it as well. The House bill cut that to $200 per student. At $200 per student, the fiscal note is a maximum of $5 million. At $1,600, it's about $40 million. But that's offset potentially by federal money, because it's a federal program that for the first 5 years, when a state has a charter school facilities program, the federal government has a reimbursement formula to help those states. So happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the Senator? Senator Benson?
Hey, Senator Benson.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, please.
I received, Lord, I'm just getting back, and I don't mean to get on anybody's nerves,
We're glad you're back.
but when you talk about the school system and you talk about funding for public schools, and then we want to talk about funding now for the chartered schools, I just got a memo here that says that the funding model will create inequities because it presents an allocation not given to public schools and circumvents current process and procedures in place for allocating capital funds. And there are a number of reasons why the League of Women Voters are in adamant opposition to this bill. And as I look at it, it just seems to make sense to me because, you know, we come here every year and we get very upset because we feel that we are not getting enough money to fund our public schools. But if you all are asking for money for the charter schools and it's money that's being taken away from public schools, that seems to be a problem. The other thing is that, and you can answer this question for me, is it not so that these chartered schools are also getting money from the local school system's capital improvement program?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. The what?
The capital, huh?
Just repeat what you just said. Getting money from what?
The capital improvement program, are they eligible for that?
I'm happy to address those issues, Senator, if you're ready.
And also, some of the chartered schools are privately owned. They're not owned by, maybe I'm misreading here, or maybe I'm misunderstanding.
I appreciate the question. The charter schools in Maryland are all nonprofit organizations, number one. Number two, this bill and Delegate Chang's bill does not take any money away from the school construction program for other public schools. Remember, charter schools are public charter schools in Maryland. They are public schools. The employees of charter schools are school system employees. And so this money would be additive for kids in Prince George's County, in Baltimore City, in every part of the state. There'd be more money for school facilities with this bill. It takes nothing away from the existing school construction program for the other public schools.
So this money that is being requested, this bill is requesting money for charter schools to be taken out of the public school buildings and built.
No, I see where you're going. I know, as you all know, I'm on the board of College Park Academy, which is a public charter school in College Park that has students from your district and every district in Prince George's County, actually. We rent our building from a partnership between St. John's Properties and the University of Maryland. In Baltimore City, and I think in one case in Prince George's County, a charter school has been able to make an agreement with the local school system when the local school system wants to close a school to have a charter take it over. That is not the general case in Prince George's County for sure, or Anne Arundel County. I don't know the numbers exactly. It's true of some schools in Baltimore City. But big picture is that charter schools need to pay for facilities. They get no facilities funding now to help. And the result is it hurts the kids because they have to take the lease payments or the debt payments out of their operating costs and out of the teachers and out of the school supplies.
I don't want to prolong this conversation.
That's okay.
Mr. Chairman, let me not say anything else. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Senator.
Any other questions, Senator? Did you have someone you want?
Yes, please.
Well, since you asked, I want to provide testimony in support. My name is Yilmaz Zain Ak. I'm the CEO of the Chesapeake Lighthouse Foundation. We have 8 schools in 2 counties, Prince George's County and Anne Arundel County. We are the largest charter operator with 4,300 students currently, and we are going through an expansion in Anne Arundel County. However, over the last 2 years, we have lost significant funding with Blueprint. The demographics of our schools was a reason for that. In Prince George's County, one of our schools lost over 10% of their funding. In Anne Arundel County, our Chesapeake Science Point School has lost more than 10% in funding over the last 2 years. On top of that, the state board decision that passed recently in December allows districts to withhold more than 2%, which was a historic precedent. And now they can withhold up to 5% for administrative fees and up to 10% for special education coverages. That means we are facing further cuts in an economy where costs have gone up more than 10% just over the last 2 years. I'm currently looking at closing 2 of my best performing high schools in Prince George's County. We have got over 1,500 students enrolled in those schools, and in our next board meeting on April 16th, I will be recommending the closure of our 2 high schools in Prince George's County because the money is just not enough to run those schools anymore after those budget cuts. The facilities bill, if passed, at a meaningful level, when I say a meaningful level, at a minimum of $800, would keep our schools open for the next 5 years at least. But without a bill that has meaningful funding, we are looking at closing some of the best schools in the state. So that is my testimony for you today. Thank you.
Questions? Okay, thank you very much. Delegate Chang, you want to, and do you have a panel?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the Budget and Taxation Committee. My name is Mark Chang, member of the Maryland House Delegates, District 32, and appreciate the Vice Chair, Rosapap, presenting the cross-file bill. And House Bill 1430 is, in addition to what the Vice Chairman said, is about fairness for Maryland's public charter school students. Today, nearly 25,000 students attend public charter schools across 8 counties and Baltimore City. Yet their schools often face significant challenges when it comes to paying for and maintaining their facilities, unlike their traditional school peers who receive funding through the IAC and their LEA. Public charter schools students must have a portion of Blueprint funds diverted from instruction to the cost of the school. And as Vice Chair Roosevelt mentioned, that the bill was amended in the House and it came over here, passed out of House to a $200 annually per pupil. What the bill also does, it positions Maryland to access the federal school facility incentive grant program, which could bring up to $10 million a year for 5 years to support the funding of the program. So this adds additional leverage for our public charter schools in the state of Maryland by accessing that federal program that's available. This afternoon, have, in addition to myself, a couple members of the charter school community who are here also to provide testimony. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Can we begin?
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Mackenzie Allen, and I am here on behalf of the Maryland Alliance of Public Charter Schools. We are so grateful to Delegate Chang and Senator Rosa Pepp for their leadership on this initiative. HB 1430 is about fairness. Right now in Maryland, the state provides facilities funding to traditional public schools, and it provides facilities funding to non-public schools. But charter schools have been left out since their inception in 2003. That's more than 20 years of disparity. It's time for change. This is not about creating an advantage, it's about ending an exclusion. For this bill to actually work, 2 changes are needed. First, the funding level. At $200 per pupil, this does not solve the problem. At $800, Maryland can bring up to $10 million a year in federal funding and reduce the net cost to the state by half. That's smart budgeting. And even at $800, this is realistically not a construction bill. No school is jumping the line because, frankly, charter schools are not even in the line. Most charter schools cannot access IAC funding at all. We're not asking to move ahead. We're asking to be included. Second, the limited eligibility language. As written, this bill intentionally excludes Baltimore City and could unintentionally exclude Prince George's County. That means thousands of public school students, nearly 2/3 of all public charter schools, are told, this funding is for everyone except you. Again, that's not equity, that's exclusion. And to be clear, this bill does not reduce IAC funding, change project priorities, take funding from other students, or increase local debt. Does not do those things. It increases the funding overall to the IAC. HB 1430 is close. With these amendments, it becomes fair, inclusive, and fiscally responsible. We respectfully urge a favorable report with amendments. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Gazzoni and the members of the committee. My name is Erin Lassard, and I serve as Managing Director of Development and External Affairs at KIPP Baltimore. I'm here today on behalf of public charter school students, families, educators, and leaders across Baltimore City, many of whom are enjoying spring break right now. I live in District 41, where my school is located and many of our students and families live. So this is personal. These are my neighbors, and they are Maryland public school students who deserve safe, well-maintained places to learn. Across Baltimore City, public charter schools like mine are working every day to provide rigorous, innovative, and supportive learning environments, often in communities that have experienced decades of disinvestment. But unlike traditional public schools, charter schools must fund both their academic programs and the full cost of their facilities using only blueprint funding and scarce philanthropic dollars. This is already a challenge, and the House amendment makes it worse. The amendment suggests that in districts with significant school closures, charter schools have access to available buildings, but access to a building does not mean access to funding to operate and maintain it. Even when a charter school is located in a district-owned facility like ours, that space is not free. We are fully responsible for maintenance, repairs, and operational costs that directly compete with funding for classrooms. Baltimore City, where the majority of the state's public charter schools are located, would be effectively shut out of this funding. This means thousands of students across 31 schools would be excluded, many of whom have already experienced school closures and ongoing disinvestment. These are predominantly Black and brown students, many from low-income communities, who stand to lose the most. And Baltimore City may not be alone. Students in Prince George's County could also face similar exclusion. We should not be accepting policy language that leaves behind the very students it is intended to support. Public charter school students are public school students, and they deserve equitable access to safe, high-quality learning environments, regardless of where they live. I respectfully urge the committee to issue a favorable report with amendments to remove the exclusionary language and to increase the per pupil funding to at least $800, because equity cannot mean that students with the greatest needs are the first to be written out of the solution. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, dear Chair and members of the Senate Budget and Taxation Committee. My name is Mark Medema, and I'm writing as a National Charter School Finance Professional to encourage you to support HB 1430. with two important considerations: maintaining the funding level at the $800 per pupil and removing that amendment that excludes certain charter schools. We have heard how charter schools use operating funds that should be used for teaching and learning to pay for facility costs. We need to keep more school dollars in the classroom, not paying for the classroom. The standard operating fund should be spent on teachers, not floors and ceilings. The proposed $800 per level is reasonable and in line with other states. We at the National Alliance for Public Charter Schools study this around the country. And this can be partially paid for by the federal government. This funding formula would allow Maryland to apply for a federal funding program that is often overlooked. The Federal State Facilities Incentive Grant could provide matching funds around $10 million per year for 5 years. Few states apply for this funding. States like California know how to access this money. There's no reason Maryland can't figure out how to access it too. You already know that funding allows charter schools to pay for the buildings. Here's the secret. That means any charter school that wants to lease space from a traditional school district can now have funding to lease that space. That money ends up supporting the charter school, who's leasing the space. It also ends up supporting the landlord, who could be a school district, who's leasing the charter school the space. The money can also be used to make renovations to a school building. We all know that school building renovations are an important topic. This is more money for school buildings. Charter schools will use them someday. Someday they may revert back to school districts. To be eligible, it's important to the amendment excluding charter schools and districts that have closed 50 schools be removed. The federal funding requires a statewide uniform facilities program without exceptions. We don't want Maryland to risk losing their eligibility for up to $50 million. This is good policy, and we encourage the committee to support HB 1430 with the exclusions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Senator McCray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'll be brief, but I think that it's important to recognize I've never seen Ms. Lassard in this capacity, so I just wanted to say thank you for always engaging me. Even though you're not in the 45th, you recognize that this is a holistic approach. I love what you all do, just not at the school, but even how you engage when they're not under your care and not under your school. So I just wanted to say thank you for being here, and it's great to see you in this posture. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else? Senator Benson?
Review for me why we need chartered schools. Why do we need chartered schools?
Do you want to answer it?
May I?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Charter schools offer the opportunity to innovate at a small scale in a way that many districts would really struggle with. And we, at KIPP, for example, we pride ourselves in trying things and then collaborating to make them better and then sharing those ideas so that others can bring them to scale. There are a lot of examples of how this works. I mean, one example that the KIPP National Network has percolated and then has now become a best practice, which has been studied, and there's a quite deal of data behind it, is our college match program. We work really hard with our alumni, and we're pre-K to 8 in Baltimore, but we have a program that supports alumni with additional college advising programs through high school long before they get to their senior year so that they're really prepared. And then we find that our students are able to access both college and CTE and other career-focused pathway programs at higher rates than many of their peers. So it's a great way to try something out, whether it's an academic process, whether it's a college and career pathway process, and then we can share those best practices. So innovation is a big part of it.
I think for me, it's even more simple. Education is not one size fits all. Not all the students in a school district or in a location can benefit from the same curriculum across all schools, which is the traditional model. We have charter schools that do language immersion. We have charter schools that specialize in special education. We have charter schools who do environmental studies. We have kids getting their associate's degrees before they get their high school diplomas, long before the blueprint. So I think the existence of charter schools is important because historically, we have had a public education system that does not educate the individual. It does not look at the needs of the individual child. And charter schools are trying to expand that to ensure that every single child is met where they are and can get where they want to be. And that involves the community, that involves, Senator Rosapep always says he likes charter schools because it requires adults who are not usually involved in education to be involved in public education. So they pull in everyone, and it's quite a holistic experience.
Help me a little bit here. In order for a youngster to get into a charter school, they are tested.
No,
No,
ma'am.
they are not criteria schools.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a lottery.
So that dispels what my thought pattern is. Once they get there, there are counseling, there are all kinds of activities that encourages them to stay there.
Yeah, definitely. It's like any
You have-
public school.
Uh-huh. If it's not a good fit, then they can be, they are sent back.
If it's not a good fit on the choice of the family and the child, then the family has the ability to move their child to a different school.
If it is not what one of the people in, one of the administrators said to me in one of the charter schools, if it's not a good fit, then they could be sent back to a public school. That's why I have a little heartburn here when we talk about public schools versus charter schools. And also, they are telling me about the funding as it pertains to what is offered in a charter school versus what's offered in public schools. If it's not a good fit, then the children can be easily removed. And of course, we talk about the money following the student. Sometimes that's very difficult. There are a lot of heartburn issues that I'm concerned about.
If I were you, I would be very concerned about those too, ma'am. I will share that charter schools are not allowed to remove students because it's not a good fit. If that is happening, then I hope you'll let someone know about that. That is not acceptable. That we do not do that in Baltimore City. If a child chooses our school, we choose them back. We choose them back. That's not an option for us to remove them. That is a misunderstanding or a mischaracterization, please.
But what I heard from you all today kind of reiterates what my thought pattern has been. And that's when students come to charter schools. They're coming with an expectation that they're going to excel. They're going to end up going to college. They're going to retain a skill that will help them for the rest of their life, as opposed to going to a public school.
So charter schools are public schools.
What?
Charter schools are public schools. So charter schools are public schools. They take public school students on a lottery. And I think the expectation is the same, I hope, for all public schools, is that a student will go to any public school, even the one that they're zoned for, and excel. I think that is the expectation that we hold our students to. I don't think that there are any standards that should be lower. And I know that is the case. And often we see parents choosing public charter schools because something didn't work in the traditional setting, and they want something different for their child, but they want to stay in the public school system. Maybe they can't afford private education, or maybe the zone school where they live, because that's the only house they could afford, is not a fit for their child. So they have another free option to send their kid to. It's definitely an equity measure, an equity and access measure.
I've been involved in this stuff of dealing with children and education for 40 years. There's not much I don't know. There's a lot that I could say, but so I won't get on everybody's nerve in this room, I will not say it. But I do know the history of the charter schools. Be sure you understand that I know the history. Let me repeat this. I know the history of charter schools. And I will stop at that so that I won't work on anybody's nerve.
Okay,
Thank you.
Any other questions for this panel? Thank you very much. I have 3 signed up in opposition: Allison Perkins Cohen, Sean Johnson, and Mary Peck Fannin.
Good afternoon. My name's Mary Pat Fannin. I'm the Executive Director of SAM. Right now across Maryland, we have schools that have been waiting for years for basic needs. In my testimony on page 3, you'll see exactly what your district asked for this year and what did not get funded. What you'll see is almost $400 million in unfunded and unmet needs. If you want to go deeper, look at the link spreadsheet that I put on the same page. You'll see clearly by district the approved projects in green and the denied projects in red. Now, you've heard that this is new money and that it's a small amount. But let's tell that to Lisbon Elementary or West Friendship Elementary, who were both denied roughly $500,000 to replace 20-year-old HVAC systems this year. That's not theoretical. That's the trade-off. Are we comfortable really telling these communities to wait even longer so that we can create a brand new funding stream outside the existing need-based process? That's exactly what this bill does. Maryland didn't stumble into its school construction program. It was built carefully over decades, and it's grounded in one simple principle: fund the greatest needs first. The process isn't perfect, but it's deliberate. It prioritizes safety, building conditions, and urgency. This bill walks away from that. It creates a new parallel system that is not need-based and creates a fragmented and inequitable system. Now, let's be honest about funding. We're told every day this session that something has to be done to rein in the cost of the blueprint. If you're telling us that there's money, there's new money for school maintenance, then we have projects that have been approved and are ready to go. Schools that have been waiting, just go back to the spreadsheet. Look at the unfunded projects in your district alone. This isn't about charters versus traditional schools. This is about fairness and whether we are going to honor a system that prioritizes need. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Gazzoni and members of the committee. I'm Allison Perkins Cohen, here today in opposition to HB 1430. Prior to serving these past 10 years as the Chief of Staff of Baltimore City Public Schools, I was the Executive Director of Maryland's largest charter school operator. Having seen this issue from all sides, I take seriously the responsibility of ensuring that funding amongst charters and traditional schools is equitable. Unfortunately, HB 1430 moves Maryland away from the core tenets of equity laid out in both the blueprint and the Maryland charter law. It's unthinkable that the state would establish a per-pupil funding allocation for charter students only to support costs for facility and maintenance and operations that impact all students. Charter advocates regularly portray facilities maintenance and operations costs as uniquely impacting charters, but of course they do not. For all students, charter and traditional, support for maintenance and operations must be pulled from already limited foundation funds. In Baltimore, we've already addressed these costs via our existing funding formula, whereby traditional schools receive a considerably lower per pupil allocation than charters, in part because we remove the cost of maintaining and operating their facilities before they receive their per pupil. We've also made our buildings available to charters, about half of which are located in city schools facilities. This bill comes at a time when our current maintenance and capital budget for the district is approximately $375 million less than what is needed by industry standards, and our current list of unfunded IAC projects totals nearly $100 million. Given these tremendous funding gaps that already exist, this bill prioritizes funding for charter students at the expense of other students, diverting limited resources from students who have waited years in line for funding for their prioritized projects. A prioritized list that in Baltimore City already includes charters who are located in our facilities. If the legislature wants to establish a new per pupil allocation in recognition of the rising costs of maintenance operations, this should be afforded to all students rather than carving out for a select few. We encourage the committee to preserve our precious but limited existing funds and respectfully urge a unfavorable report.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing time today in opposition to House Bill 1430. My name is Sean Johnson on behalf of the Maryland State Education Association. Separate from the challenges that the bill creates around current construction and maintenance realities that you just heard, I want to take a step back and look at the policy impact of this, especially for those of us, me, and many of you who have championed the blueprint for Maryland's future. Because this bill is about general funds. It's not about capital funds. We talk about school construction, but this is an impact on the general fund. And so we fund our schools out of the general fund based on student need. That's what the blueprint does. It's more money for students in poverty, for English language learners, for special education students. And you strengthen that commitment with the weight added in the blueprint for concentrations of poverty. But House Bill 1430 moves in a different direction. It creates a new mandated per pupil funding, a new weight in our system, but one that is not tied to student need at all. And if we're being honest about where the greatest unmet needs are, charter school facilities are not at the top of that list. And at the same time, we're grappling with the costs of sustaining the blueprint in the years ahead. Many of you have reminded me of the DLS chart showing the pressure on general funds in the out years. Consideration of this bill that creates new and additional budget stress on the general fund is deeply concerning. My final note is one of caution around the federal grant program that's been cited. Even if those dollars materialize, they are temporary, while the obligation is permanent. Under the federal program, within 5 years, every federal dollar must be replaced by state dollars. And so what may sound like a great case scenario, hey, we put in state money, we get federal money, is actually a worst case scenario for long-term mandated spending. The federal program is not a grant. It is a bait and switch. Members of the committee, you're being asked to do 3 things under this bill. Create a new funding stream not tied to need, add long-term fiscal pressure, and do it at a time when existing priorities are already strained. Wrong time for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator McCrae?
Mr. Chair, I'll be very quick. I know we're under a time crunch. I don't know if I'll get the opportunity to do this in a public way again, but Madam Chief of Staff, just want to say I was reflecting back on your 10 years of service, and I always questioned, Mr. Chair, why was it a push and pull, and why were both of our personalities very strong, but you have to be a Scorpio is what I was thinking.
I am a Scorpio.
From that standpoint, but I just want to say thank you. Many of my challenges that I've faced in this General Assembly have been overcome, but it's been in partnership with you. And I love that now when we disagree, we can just smile. You know, it's okay. And I just appreciate you for that, and I appreciate you for your partnership.
Likewise, Senator.
Okay, Senator Stallings, I understand that the House is going back pretty quickly. I was not aware of that. So we're going to push right after your question and try to get as many of these through. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, do you believe in school choice?
No, sir.
You don't? So you don't believe that we should have magnet schools or we should have other schools that complement our schools?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So let me be clear. The school choice movement is one that is about making, and I know city schools has a different approach on this. There is public school choice within Baltimore City. That's not the case outside of Baltimore City. But the school choice movement nationally is one that is tantamount to a voucher program of removing students from public schools to go to unaccountable private schools. You heard, and Senator Benson asked, everything the panel said earlier about public charter schools is exactly right. There's an absolute place for them. There's a place for magnet schools. There's a place for a lot of creativity in how we operate public schools, but they should be public schools.
But I believe in voucher schools. I believe more opportunities should be expanded. I don't think we should be narrow-minded to say, okay, you live in this area, you go to this school.
We disagree on that, but...
Well, let me finish, please.
Okay.
So that being said, I think more opportunity for our kids to expand, to get apprenticeships if they need to go somewhere else, to get more opportunity to expand their education is better for them instead of being in a narrow place where they're going to be a minimal. There's a maximal. They have a better opportunity to get more of an education. And I believe in that. When you expand somebody's mind, they're doing better. When you give them more opportunity, they're doing better. And I believe in that, in the voucher, in the choice, in charters, in magnet. There's so much more we should be doing. And if we don't do that, we're limiting our children. Thank you.
Thanks. We just should not conflate private schools with charter schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. House Bill 1279. 1279. Senate. Delegate Roth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I very much appreciate the accommodation, understanding that we're going back on the floor pretty soon so that we can send you guys back the capital budget as soon as possible.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of Budget and Tax. I'm Delegate Malcolm P. Ruff, District 41 in Baltimore City, here to present House Bill 1279 as amended by the Ways and Means Committee. As you know very well, we're facing a housing crisis, 100,000 housing units that we're down statewide. And this bill, in its original form, was working to make some expansive amendments and alterations to the existing DHCD catalytic revitalization tax credit. That tax credit is about $15 million every 2 years that's available for developers, but there are some stringent parameters to the tax credit. But this bill, as amended now, makes only one alteration to the tax credit program, and that's by placing an emphasis on applications that promote workforce housing. There is already an emphasis on affordable housing, and now we'd like to expand that as well. We also wanted to expand it to TODs, transportation-oriented developments. We wanted to expand the amount of the tax credit. We wanted to also make the tax credit every year as opposed to every 2 years. But understanding our fiscal situation in the state, the Ways and Means decided to truncate all that down, but to leave this workforce housing piece. I would say that the workforce housing piece is absolutely critical, especially in my district where we have a huge project that we all funded as the General Assembly, the redevelopment of Pimlico Racetrack, and there are a couple of different projects that could be really supported by this tax credit in the 41st. But I also know that the tax credit has just not been used as much. And so I would ask for a favorable report. I would ask that the committee work with us on some potential amendments to maybe add some things in as along the lines of removing the regulation that it only be state-owned properties, as well as some other small tweaks that would not mess with the fiscal note. And with that, I would ask for a favorable report.
Thank you. Senator Edelman.
Thank you very much, Delegate. Just a question, because actually a big project in my district was the recipient of one of these catalytic tax credit projects. And it's really important. Just so I understand correctly, are you changing the program entirely or just adding housing as an element that can be eligible for the tax credit?
So, no, we're definitely not changing the program in its entirety. The only thing that this bill at this point does is adds an additional emphasis on applications for developments that are designed to create workforce housing, and there already was an emphasis on affordable housing. But I do think that we need to propose some further amendments to the bill as it exists now, if it can be moved favorably, that would, number one, not restrict this tax credit to previously owned properties that the state owned. That would expand the kind of world of folks that would be able to apply, because based on what I've heard, only $4 million of the $15 million of the last round of tax credits was actually issued, because there were only a limited amount of applications. So what we want to do is, if we have this tax credit, we want to at least make it an atmosphere where folks are eligible to apply and want to apply and get the catalytic revitalization going.
Thank you, that's helpful. But I actually did find out this week, in fact, that the project in my district got over $3 million this week. They may have been awarded 2 years ago, but I appreciate your
well, that's very good. I'd love to see that all over our region.
Yep.
Very good. Okay, I have a couple people signed up in favor. Are they?
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Are they here?
You have Malik?
Malik Jordan and
Sorry.
Winfield Willis.
For some reason, I had it listed as a sponsor only in my notes. Go right ahead. And Winfield's not here.
Okay.
My name is Malik Jordan, and I am Senior Vice President at Walter Cooper Companies. But at my heart, I'm a Baltimore City boy, and I hope that this represents both perspectives. As an affordable and workforce housing developer that believes in mixed income communities, I am penalized, meaning my projects become less feasible when I try to include workforce populations at 50 through 100% AMI. Funding such as low-income housing tax credits and other funding from municipalities are quote-unquote race to the bottoms, meaning the lower the income, the better your housing financing projections. I get it. I'm a Christian, and I always ask, what is my service to the least among us? However, if we are to create mixed-income housing communities that grow the Maryland tax base and support small businesses, we need funding for what's been called the missing middle. This is funding geared towards ensuring workforce housing for populations with higher AMIs, 50 to 100% as in the bill, are integrated into neighborhood revitalization. The catalytic revitalization tax credit, without the eligibility that the land be formally owned by the state or federal government, accomplishes this goal by funding workforce housing in a way that enhances the state's housing initiatives. Neighborhood revitalization requires families with higher discretionary incomes. At its core, HB 1279 and the catalytic revitalization tax credits are a workforce retention and economic development story. I urge a favorable report for House Bill 1279 with an amendment that I think the House delegate was representing to, that the land does not have to be formally owned by the state or federal government. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. 1557.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if it's okay, is it all right to do
1369?
1369 as well, the two audit bills? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's nice to see you all. For the record, Delegate Jared Solomon here, District 18, and also here in my capacity as the House co-chair of the Joint Audit and Evaluation Committee. I want to thank my amazing partner, Senator Hedelman, who chairs the Senate side of it. I also want to thank a couple of the members of the B&T Committee who serve on Joint Audit, Senator McCray, Senator Quarterman, and our amazing counsel. You're also amazing counsel, Ms. Deneen Banks, who staffs us on Jake and has been an incredible asset. So both of the bills are priority bills for the Joint Audit Committee. 1369 I will do first. It's very easy. It's a cross-file with Senator Hedelman. Both bills passed unanimously out of the House and Senate.
Are there differences?
Nope.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And then I'll move to 1557. And I
Any
also
difference?
Yes, this one actually was not cross-filed, but we have been working collaboratively on it. Some of the audit bills, we were working literally up until the drop deadline with the folks at DLS and Director Gruber's team. So this one, we had a couple of extra days with the House drop, so we introduced it in the House. But again, there's been a lot of collaboration between the Speaker's office and the Senate President's office. Appreciate that. I also do want to thank Hannah Dyer from the Governor's team, as well as Ozma Mirza, who's the Chief Performance Officer, and the folks at DGS. Who have been really collaborative. So this bill really does two things. It creates a real estate advisory committee within DGS of outside experts, and then two ex officio members, one from the House and one from the Senate, to sort of provide advice and offer counsel to DGS and the General Assembly on sort of the larger DGS real estate portfolio. The bill is originally introduced, created what we determined was sort of more of a duplicative procurement process. That was never the intent. It was really to just provide advice to DGS as they consider large-scale purchases, as they consider modifications, and these came out of some concerns that were raised during an audit that the Joint Audit Committee reviewed last year. The other piece of the bill goes into what is already existing policy in procurement statute that essentially gives the Legislative Policy Committee, which, as you all know, is chaired by the two presiding officers and members of leadership in both chambers, it adds into the existing policies already that give the LPC essentially 14 days for large acquisitions, an opportunity to review. If they decide that they need further information, they can request a 45-day period. So that is already existing procurement law. What this bill does is goes in and makes it clear that that period also applies to leases and enhances the documentation that the LPC gets on the front end through the Board of Public Works, and then clarifies some of the information that the LPC should get in that 14-day review period.
Very good. Questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
1540.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and all of the members of the Budget and Taxation Committee. For the record, I am Delegate Andrea Fletcher Harrison, and I'm here to present HB 1540, which is University of Maryland Capital Region Medical Center funding repeal of termination date. This bill is straightforward, but is very critically important. It repeals the termination date of existing law that requires the governor to include a dedicated appropriation in the annual budget bill for the University of Maryland Capital Region Medical Center. And I want to take a moment to thank all of you who have been around for a little while and have worked with us in Prince George's County on this particular bill, this center. Current law reflects a clear policy choice by this body to protect the state's substantial investment in the Prince George's County Regional Medical Center and to ensure that high-quality clinical programs are developed and maintained as the system transitions into the University of Maryland medical system. The statute requires that the financial viability of the center, the state's investment, depends on predictable state operating and capital funding in specific years, and that those commitments are directly tied to access to care and the long-term stability of this regional anchor institution. HB 1540 preserves that commitment by removing the sunset that would otherwise end the mandated annual operating support in fiscal 2028. Under existing law, beginning in fiscal 2022, for each fiscal year through 2028, the governor is required to include $10 million in the budget bill as an operating grant for the center. This bill amends that code so that for those fiscal years and thereafter, the governor would include the $10 million appropriation. This provides long-term stability for the hospital, its workforce, and the communities it serves. It does not change the purposes for which the state and county funds are to be used. Those funds must continue to support the transition of the Regional Medical Center into the University of Maryland medical system and may only be used to increase access to critical health care services, improve quality of care, and facilitate cost containment measures. For Prince George's County and the broader region, the Capital Region Medical Center is more than a building, it's our backbone. And for these reasons, we respectfully request a favorable report on HB 1540. And there are some very smart people behind me who can answer any questions you may have.
I talked to them earlier. I had a nice visit with everybody. I thank you for coming to visit. And we are ready to take this one on. Okay. Any questions? Thank you very much. Okay. 1330. Okay, 175.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, I'm Delegate Natalie Ziegler, represent District 9A, and I'm here with House Bill 175, a very simple bill, a follow-on to one we passed last year that offered a $75 tax credit to anyone who killed a deer and donated the venison to a food bank. There was a $300 maximum for that tax credit, so you could donate 4 deer. This bill simply raises that to $600, so it could be 8 deer. And it's a twofold effort to help reduce the deer population and to help out food banks, which are having a very difficult year. With that, I ask for a favorable report. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator LaShung.
Are there any requirements when the deer meat is being donated to a food bank that it be tested for lead?
No, but I am very interested in the lead abatement bill that we have in the House. But no, at the moment, we don't have that
Okay,
requirement.
I am concerned there are other states that test for lead, in particular for venison donated to food banks, and they have found somewhere between a 15 and 25% evidence of lead poisoning. And so there's a risk of the most vulnerable among us for that kind of lead poisoning.
Well, it may be that the food banks do that testing. I'm not aware of that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, is there a witness? Okay, 7:34.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Delegate Kent Robertson here, and in honesty, just to move us expeditiously to have our staff learn how it means to testify, we'll let our Chief of Staff Delegate Jalen Henry testify briefly. And for brevity, he'll be really quick.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jalen Henry. Thank you, Chair Gazzoni. Introducing HB 734. This is a mirror bill of Senator King's. It's on agrivoltaics. And yes, I agree. Essentially, it extends the eligibility for people to receive this tax credit for 5 years for people who are already existing within the tax credit. I just want to say this also, this is going to give farmers the opportunity to bring more money into their farms and potentially just sustain what they're doing. So I really ask for your favorable report. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Yes, Senator.
Good afternoon. It's good to see you all.
Good to see you, and welcome back, Senator. So good to see your beautiful face.
Just answer this question for me. Who is it, who regulates solar panels? And do you have to fill out an application? Is there an agency that you have to go through before you get permission to put the solar panels up?
Yes, ma'am, and actually, thanks to the amendment that is on the bill that you all passed and that we passed in the House, SDAT is the one that oversees this. So what we do is now those individuals, those farmers that want to put solar farming on their land will now be allowed by SDAT to get the pre-approval before they actually implement solar on that. So SDAT will come out, survey the land, ensure that it is okay before they even begin installation. And then once they get the approval, they can begin the installation. And afterwards, they'll come out just to approve it so that they can't get the tax credit.
What happens to these dear souls that are going around now advertising solar panels for people's homes? If it's found that they are committing a fraud or scam or doing it illegally, is there something in this bill that protects the family?
So this bill doesn't directly address that, no ma'am, and I'd love to discuss that further because I understand that there are those that are
But it's
putting
not
out.
really in this bill.
Right, yes ma'am.
Yeah, but we got to do something with them.
Yes ma'am, thank you.
Because I'm sure you know about the case right now where there's a dear gentleman that's gotten thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from people. And they have complained to the state's attorney. I don't know how that could be corrected at
Yes
this
ma'am.
point.
Yes ma'am, thank you for raising that. We'll look into that.
Yeah, I will talk to you about it.
Yes ma'am, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
5:47.
Good afternoon. My name is Camila Reynolds Dominguez. I am Chief of Staff to Delegate Chris Fair. He had to go to a voting session, so he asked me to present the bill. Chair Gazzoni, Vice Chair Rosapep, and members of the committee, House Bill 547 is a bipartisan reintroduction that makes a straightforward but important update to Maryland's income tax subtraction for enhanced agricultural management equipment. Right now, the statute contains a fixed list of specific equipment types. So every time a new agricultural management technology becomes commercially available, we have to return to this committee to make a small technical update just to keep the list current with the market. As amended by the House, HB 547 keeps all existing statutory categories exactly as they are, but it makes one important change. It requires the Secretary of Agriculture to annually submit a list of additional qualifying equipment for the General Assembly to consider adding to the list. That way, when a new no-till tool, a sensing device, or a precision application system comes onto the market, the General Assembly can quickly heed the Secretary's recommendation and update the list. This approach honors legislative intent on tax policy, maintains farmers' ability to benefit from this program as technology evolves, and reflects the reality that technology changes faster than the legislature can reasonably keep up with. The fiscal note affirms that these changes can be implemented with existing resources, and any fiscal impact is limited and tied directly to future bills that the General Assembly will have to consider if it decides to add more equipment to the list. I believe Harrison Palmer, the Chief of Staff for the department, is here, and Delegate Fair let me know that they talked and that they support the bill. So to conclude, by requiring annual reports on suggested equipment to be added to the program, the bill strengthens an already effective agricultural incentive for tools that reduce nutrient runoff, improve soil structure, and support bay restoration.
Thank you. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
1176.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and the distinguished committee. It's very nice to see Senator Benson coming back. And I'm coming to present a delegation bill from Howard County. This bill is pretty simple. We're asking the county government and the county council to report what the percentage of funding going to the school system every year. And you got a unanimous support from the House side, and please support it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
753.
Hello, my name is Austin Painter. I am one of Delegate Lehman's interns. She had to leave to go to a voting session, so I'm here to present for her. I'm here requesting a favorable report on House Bill 753, which protects homeowners who are dealing with a terminal illness or other medical hardship from losing their property in a tax sale. This bill comes from a constituent's experience whose father, Mr. Abdul Mukni, was battling late-stage cancer and missed his property tax notices and the window to pay his bill. At a June 2025 hearing in Prince George's County Circuit Court, Eskin Law, a tax lien purchaser, paid the taxes so that they could take the title to the home. The tax lien sale was legal, but it caught the family completely off guard as they were dealing with Mr. Mukni's stage 4 colon and stomach cancer and Mrs. Mukni's health problems. They were not aware of this proceeding until it was over, and when Mr. and Mrs. Mukni's daughter, Miriam, was made aware of the action, she retained an attorney and raised enough money to pay the debt, and then Eskin Law declined the $15,000 cash offer, and Mr. Mukni died in September. 2 months later, the Eskin Law successfully petitioned the court and successfully petitioned the court to cancel a right of redemption hearing to allow the family to pay the tax debt and regain the title. So what this bill does is it protects these types of homeowners. It amends the homeowner protection program administered by the Office of the Ombudsman, which was established to divert vulnerable homeowners from the private tax lien sale process into an alternative program. And it does this by adding to the list of people eligible those battling terminal illness or other medical hardship. It also allows the ombudsman to create a process to enroll these homeowners. It passed the Ways and Means Committee with a couple of amendments which would define terminal illness and medical hardship. It establishes a process to create this exemption, and it requires homeowners reapply every 2 years. No family should have to go through this financial and emotional trauma, and for this reason, we ask for a favorable report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Had someone signed up in favor?
She won't be coming. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. 1096.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and distinguished members of the committee. I am Delegate Jeffrey Long, Jr. for the record, presenting House Bill 1096, which passed the House of Delegates unanimously in a bipartisan fashion. And to make this very simple, this bill would require that every county tax collector include with the property tax bill a website address or a QR code that lists each property tax credit available to taxpayers in the county, because people are burdened and want relief. And so this, again, would allow every resident in every county throughout this state, including Baltimore City, to have a link or QR code on the back of their property tax bill so they can be able to access any credit available to them. And with that, I respectfully request a favorable report. Thank you.
Questions? Thank you very much, Delegate.
Thank you, sir.
1160 and 1513.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Delegate Mark Fisher, Chair of the Calvert County Delegation. HB 1160 and HB 1513 are two Calvert County delegation bills. They're supported by the entire delegation, the county commissioners, and all the Calvert senators.
We have a letter. We have letters. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you very much. 1243 and 1247.
Good afternoon, Chair Gazone and members of the Budget and Tax Committee. Doesn't matter which one. I guess I'll start with 1243, which is a Prince George's County delegation bill with regards to small manufacturers. This bill is really simply pretty straightforward. We did have an amendment that was put onto the bill in the House that really just exempts small manufacturers that manufacture alcoholic beverages in Prince George's County and that is defined as a small business, meaning that they employ 50 individuals or less from being subject to this tax within the county. This bill was passed out of the delegation unanimously, and there was only one nay vote in the House. And so with that, we ask that you pass HB 1243. I don't know, Julie made it or not? No, she did not. But we had a small business owner from Prince George's County to testify, that did testify in the House in support of the bill. And with that, we ask for a favorable report.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Going once, going twice? Thank you very much.
Right.
That concludes the hearing.
There is one.
Oh, there is?
Just, I don't know, Andrew Dill.
Is there a witness?
I don't know if they're
Andrew Dill?
Andrew Dill. They're not here.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay.
The next bill is House Bill 1247.
That is correct. Thank you, Vice Chair Rosapep and members of the Budget and Taxation Committee. I also have members of the Prince George's County Executive's Office here to testify in support of this bill. This is the Tax Increment Financing Extraordinary Development District Alterations Bill. This bill is extremely important for Prince George's County. It's actually a priority of our county executive as well as a priority of the governor. And what this bill would do would provide funding necessary for the development of the Sphere project in National Harbor in Prince George's County, Maryland. This bill, I believe, received a unanimous vote, definitely in the delegation. There was 3 no votes in the House, don't know why, but nevertheless received close to unanimous vote from the House. And again, I do have members from the county executives team that can answer any questions that folks may have with regards to the details as it relates to this bill. But we do ask for a favorable report, as we do feel this is extremely important for our county in terms of spurring economic development and really bringing a state-of-the-art facility to Prince George's County. Only one such facility exists in the entire world, and then to have the second location here in the great state of Maryland, I think would be beneficial to the state as a whole, given the economic impact that would have and the tax revenue that it would generate for the state.
Thank you. Any questions? Any other witnesses?
Okay. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Mr. Vice Chair?
Are there any other witnesses?
I don't know if there's, like I said, I have folks here from the county exec's office that are questions, but no witness on this bill.
Okay.
But my witness did just come back in, sorry, on the previous bill that we just had, 1243. I have Julie Verratti here, but I know we've already passed by that particular bill.
Come up if you.
Okay.
I was in the hallway, I apologize. I have a business colleague as well who's.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I apologize for this. Thank you, Chair Guzzoni and Vice Chair Rosapep, and thank you also, Chair Williams, for helping to sponsor this bill. I'm Julie Verratti. I'm one of the founders of Denizens Brewing Company. We're based in Riverdale Park, Maryland, in Prince George's County. We've been in business for about 12 years, and I have about 25 employees. I strongly support Bill 1243, which will allow small manufacturing businesses like ours to get much needed financial relief from business personal property tax on manufacturing equipment and inventory. Each year since 2019, we've been charged a grand total of about $100,000 from the town on business personal property tax. Meanwhile, the county has charged us about $22,000 during that same time period because the county exempts the manufacturing equipment and inventory. And so this bill is just asking that there be some sort of equitable provision for that, for the town and the county to create this for financial relief for us. It'll help us hire more people, pay down debt for the equipment that we had to purchase, and really just try to run our business successfully. And so I'm just really hoping that there will be a favorable vote on this on this bill. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. I love Denison, so.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do. You have another witness?
Yes. Just another small business owner from Prince George's County.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Dill. Thank you, Chair Guzzone and Vice Chair Rosenpep. My name is Andrew Dill, like I said. I'm co-founder of Liquid Intrusion Brewing Company, based out of Prince George's County Prince George's County, Maryland. Sorry, first timer. We operate as a contract brewery, meaning we rent space out of another brewery to produce our beer and get our product to market entirely through distribution across Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Delaware. We have no brick and mortar to call home. For over 3 years, we've been diligently searching for a permanent location right here, right in Prince George's County, because that's where we belong. Black-owned breweries represent less than 1% in the brewing industry nationally. So for Prince George's County to have one is very significant. Prince George's County to lose one because of tax environment make survival impossible would be a failure to the community that our community cannot afford. Breweries like Denizens Brewing Company, a woman-owned brewery, and Streetcar 82, one of only 2 deaf-owned and operated breweries in the entire country, are mentors to us. The challenges they face will inevitably affect us too. Our county is home to truly unique breweries and countless other small businesses and manufacturers that deserve your support. HB 1243 gives small manufacturers like us a real chance to survive and grow here. Without it, we will be forced to look elsewhere. For some, possibly close. With it, we stay, we hire, we build something this county can be proud of. Please vote yes for HB 1243. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Any questions? That concludes the hearing on this bill.
Okay. Thank you. And I don't know if were there any questions on the TIF bill as well, 1247? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Couple more. 1330 still was out there? No? Okay. 590?
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Stephen Lumpkins, here on behalf of the Howard County delegation to present House Bill 590, Howard County Transfer Tax, Use of Proceeds, Ho Code 12-26. This bill passed the Howard County delegation, the Ways and Means Committee, and the House of Delegates unanimously. House Bill 590 deals with the distribution of Howard County's transfer tax. A quarter of our transfer tax currently goes to agricultural land preservation. This bill broadens that from solely preservation to agricultural land preservation and innovation. To do this, it changes the name of the fund and specifies its use to support the agricultural land preservation program and other programs, services, and initiatives to enhance the commercial viability or environmental sustainability of agriculture in the county. Howard County has a very successful agricultural program, but this bill focuses on the fact that we need not just to preserve the land, but preserve agriculture itself as an industry. We must help our farmers in diversifying their operations and remaining commercially viable while ensuring it is done in an environmentally sustainable way. For these reasons, we respectfully request a favorable report on House Bill 590.
Thank you very much. Questions? Thank you. Okay. I think we're down to 2, and the one we missed so far. All right, 289. We've had, is anybody here for 289? Guess not. This is this the same posture as ours? It's not, okay. The department's here, yeah.
Which one's 289?
Payouts, intercept.
They're supposed to be sponsor only, so I wasn't able to sign up, but if I can testify.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Gazzoni, Vice Chair Rosapep, and members of the Budget and Tax Committee. House Bill 289 is the result of a audit by the Office of Legislative Audits that found that we were not, casinos were not intercepting funds for child support, so the bill is corrective to allow that to happen.
Right. What's the difference between what we did, you know?
I don't think there's been.
One difference, I think, that we didn't catch on the House.
Is it a technical thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, then 295.
May I do the same thing?
Sure.
So good afternoon again, Jennifer Beskin, Maryland Lottery and Gaming Control Agency. House Bill 295 is a bill that has, there's been a lot of discussion about as far as what it does and doesn't do. So going back in history, when this body approved gaming through referendum, we were looking at brick and mortar casinos. We were looking at table games. We were looking at sports betting. We were not looking at the influence of the internet on the gaming environment. Gaming has been available in Maryland for over 16 years. What has happened is there's been an influx of online gaming companies that are now offering online gaming. That gaming is untaxed, it's unregulated, it's illegal because this body does not allow online gambling in the state. So House Bill 295 seeks to define what illegal online gaming is through a definition of interactive game. It seeks to extend the commission's ability to determine what an illegal game is, an illegal online game is, and then it sets parameters. And the parameters are fines and penalties for individuals who, once they receive a cease and desist letter informing them that they are offering a game illegally in the state, that can be followed in terms of license renewal or a failure to reissue licenses and things like that. And with that, we ask for a favorable report.
So why don't you tell us what constitutes, what are the criteria for gaming?
For a game to be illegal, it must include consideration. Consideration being that I have to pay something to play that game. it requires chance. Chance is that there's a possibility that I can win a reward as a result of playing this game. The bill defines reward to include anything that can be converted to cash or a cash equivalent. So if an online game is being offered in the state and you have to pay to play, there is a chance that you can win, and the reward that you win is convertible to cash or cash. That would be an illegal game in the state.
So so-called games of skill don't apply.
So games of skill are if an individual or an entity believes that they are offering a game of skill. The Maryland Lottery and Gaming Control Commission has the authority to determine whether or not a game is meeting the criteria of consideration, chance, and reward. If an entity wants to come in and say, no, we are offering something that you pay to play but is based on skill, not chance, then they could come to the commission and they could ask the commission to make a determination.
That's existing law.
Yes. Yes.
Senator Lewis-Young?
Mr. Chair, does this include sweepstakes?
Sweepstakes games that are free to play. So I go into a fast food chain and I purchase a soda, and attached to that soda is a ticket, and that ticket is an opportunity to win a prize. I have paid, the consideration has been to purchase a soda, not to enter a game. And so in that type of sweepstakes, the answer would be no.
Okay. Need to give more thought to that.
So what you're saying is you'd have to be purchasing a ticket to a sweepstakes.
An entry into a sweepstakes, yes.
And that's different.
It is different.
From the position of law in the lottery.
I was purchasing the soda anyway. This soda just happens to have a ticket that's part of it because of a sweepstakes promotion that a fast food entity is offering.
What about a raffle ticket?
Raffles are under a different section of the law. You're welcome.
There's all kinds of games out there that you can just play. For instance, solitaire. Then you have Candy Crush. You have all these other ones. And I played like maybe solitaire for a period of time. And all of a sudden something comes up. And it goes, hey, you can play for this. I don't do that. But I just continue to play. Is that what you're talking about?
Thank you, Senator Salling. There are companies that do offer a mixture where you can start by playing free. You can play free for as long as you want. But when the game converts to you can pay to play for a chance to win a cash reward, they have crossed the line at that point.
Yeah. So, but there's games out there that doesn't have that whatsoever, so they're exempt.
Let's put Candy Crush on the table. It's kind of been.
Candy Crush on the table. There you go.
Candy Crush does not meet the three criteria. There's no consideration. You can purchase additional lives or additional rewards, but all they do is extend, and rewards is probably not the additional lives or additional
Coins.
features, hammers, whatever. But all that they do when you purchase them is they extend your ability to play the game. They do not end up in a cash reward.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, we heard a bill yesterday, House Bill 1226.
Yes.
Can you talk about how these bills work together or complement one another or
Absolutely.
not? That would be helpful to me.
So the commission, the commission, Maryland Lottery and Gaming Control Commission, has the ability to identify entities that are operating illegally in the state. And when they do, we send a cease and desist letter. Since 2024, we have sent 89 cease and desist letters to these operators. 25%, or approximately 25% of those who have received these letters have withdrawn their games from the state. They've just packed up and left. Outside of sending that cease and desist letter, there is not much that the commission has the authority to do because we are not a law enforcement entity. We don't have any of that authority. Where House Bill 1226 picks up is they can work with the commission to have the cease and desist letters sent, but there are additional penalties and fines that have been put into place that, working through the Office of the Attorney General, there is an enforcement component that we just don't have under 295.
As complementary, getting at the same
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
13:30. Is someone here? Sure.
Good afternoon, Chair Gazzoni and members of the B&T Committee. For the record, my name is Daniel Smith. I'm Delegate Hornberger's legislative aide. He's caught up in another committee hearing. I'm here to present House Bill 1330, Homeowners Property Tax Credit Year-Round Application. What the bill does is pretty much in the title, but in effect, it would allow for the homeowners property tax credit on basically a year-round basis instead of the current cutoff in October. As I'm sure many of you know, the credit can't be more than $300,000 for the maximum assessment, and the combined household income may not exceed $60,000. On average, about 60,000 applications are put in every year for this credit, and of those, about 38,000 are actually eligible. So with that, I would respectfully request a favorable report, and I will try to answer any questions if any committee members have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Concludes the hearing on that bill and all bills today. Okay, some voting. 1007 was the prior auth bill we heard earlier. All's in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. House Bill 161. This is the retail service stations. This was the one that Senator Brooks had. But there were changes there, weren't there?
Yes, this is the House cross-file to Senate Bill 58, which passed the Senate unanimously. There are two changes here. If you remember, this was a bill where local authorizing property tax credit for gas stations that are converted for retail use. The House amended retail use to not include licensed retailer of cigarettes, licensed other tobacco products realtor, and electric smoking devices realtor, or a holder of a Class A alcoholic beverage license. The House also prohibited the tax credit for property unless underground storage tanks have been permanently closed in accordance with Department of Environment regs.
So, I'm not quite so sure about all those criteria. I mean, at least from my perspective, I can't imagine a property would be developable if there were underground storage tanks that weren't handled. But regardless, that's fine with me. I don't know about the other stuff, though. I don't know how you. Anyone have any feelings? Brooks.
I don't want to slow this bill down, but I actually like the part about all these vapes and cigarette things popping. I don't want to incentivize those folks. So I just think it makes sense for it being in there.
Thoughts? Anybody else?
Chairman?
Yeah.
I don't have a thought. I have a question. What are your concerns?
Huh?
What are your concerns?
Well, I mean, if you start limiting what can be there later, it changes the dynamic of the, of just development, right? Ability to come in and do things. Now, I'm not too thrilled about vapes either, another vape shop, but if you have a gas station there, they're already selling cigarettes, right? I mean, to say that a business, that might be just sort of a side dish, isn't it? That means that you can't have a convenience store there?
That's a good question.
I
mean,
It's a good question.
Yeah, if they're a holder of one of these licenses, then yeah.
right, so you're going to limit a convenience store from coming there?
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, right. I mean, maybe I get the alcohol too. Maybe you don't want to do that, but
What does the bill do exactly?
it's a tax credit for redevelopment of the project. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great bill.
Out of the ground. Isn't that the ultimate goal of this? Was you got a gas station that's sitting there vacant, where
it could be.
Exxon's vacated, and you got this derelict gas station, and I can't come in and redevelop it because I got these tanks sitting underground that it's like.
That may be one reason,
And
but
to me, that's the
not
issue.
a requirement that they have tanks in the ground. I don't think that wasn't a requirement, right?
No.
No, I mean, there's some, when some people vacate those things, they take the responsibility of dealing with that. The owner of the property maybe it forces the tenant to handle that because they're leaving the property. It could be a lot of different kinds of circumstances.
I thought that was the goal about this bill.
It's
was,
certainly I mean, it is a
I
possibility.
mean, there's no difference between it being an abandoned gas station with no tanks versus an old abandoned drugstore that's sitting there. Building's a building. The issue I always thought was it's what's below ground that's preventing it from being developed further, that we were trying to incentivize somebody to step in there to take the risk of, digging up the ground, pulling the tanks out, making sure the soil's clean, filling it with stone, pea gravel, I think is usually what they put back in its place, and then building a new facility on top.
There is intent language in the bill that that is the intent of the bill, is to defray the cost specifically of the underground storage tanks.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the engineer's right in the sense that I think that's the major cost, but gas stations are in unusual locations because they're over time, because they're relatively small. The historical ones are relatively small, and they're places related to where people drove in the 1950s and 1960s and 70s and 80s. And so I think they're difficult places to redevelop anyway. So whether or not you have a storage problem, I mean, I think the thing makes sense, but I think the big one would be the storage problem.
Right. So I don't think the storage problem is like a problem or an issue. Right? I mean, I think the real question is, do we accept these amendments that the House has that says you can't do cigarettes, you can't do alcohol, you can't do vape?
So I'm just looking at the testimony of the House sponsor, and she said that the bill was introduced, stipulated already that the property couldn't be converted dollar stores and self-storage facilities. So they've already come in with ideas of what they want and don't want the property to be used for. So I guess, and she supported these amendments. I mean, I guess adding those other, like a liquor store is not a highest and best use for these properties as they see it. Like, I'm okay with that. I guess I'm comfortable with the amendments.
Sure.
That's fine. Yeah.
Just a question for staff. Is this authorizing for the counties to do?
Yeah, optional.
So, I mean, I think if that's the case, I think if they feel strongly that they don't want this, they can not do the tax credit. I mean, they can make that judgment. So I'm comfortable with leaving.
Sure.
Leaving it.
Though, is that if they did want to do it, I know we don't want it in Prince George's, but we're foreclosing on a couple of the options if that county did want to do it that way. That's the I'm just, that's the opposite on that. I mean, the county doesn't have to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it.
The challenge is that in those types of communities, that's the only vision that's set out, that they only see it as a liquor store or a tobacco shop. So you take those things out, you can't even have that type of vision. You then let a bookstore or a coffee shop or whatever it is that neighborhood wouldn't have a chance. They're playing on that these are addictions in that community. That's what they're playing on, that money travels.
Yeah, can I just say one thing to that? Because I think you're right. I think the question is, what you're talking about are stores that are exclusively for vape stores or exclusive. But what I was trying to point out was that, you know, are you going to limit a convenience store?
No, I don't have no problem with it.
But you would under this language. Because if they have a license to sell cigarettes, they're forbidden in this. So I don't know if you want to do that. That's kind of where I was going with that.
No, I think it makes sense. Could we make it a local option? That's kind of where my head was going. I misspoke, Senator Augustine. You're exactly right. Well, why couldn't we allow counties to put their own restrictions on it if they want to?
Again, so we'll talk about
Think
that.
about it.
We'll talk about that. All right. All right, Maryland Horse Industry Board, 225. We're holding 161.
House Bill 225 is a departmental bill that extends the termination date. It extends the sunset of the Maryland Horse Industry Board by 10 years from July 2026 to July 1, 2036.
That's all it does.
That's all it
There was no
does.
cross.
No cross.
Favorable.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Senator Jennings was the horse guy. On the 1007, apparently we didn't do it with amendments. So all in favor with amendments? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. All right. 343. $343. Oh. It's a good bill. I thought it was pretty straightforward. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Wow. Okay. I think we got some, I won't say it. Is it
Say what the 90,000 was for.
the counseling?
No, I know what counseling services is. I didn't know, like, the 90,000, is that, like, what is that for? It just doesn't sound like enough.
Oh,
I think it's to fund counseling services.
Is it a specific organization?
I think that just as the counselors need to be HUD certified and employed by an approved housing counseling agency, which would be an organization approved by HUD to provide housing counseling services directly or through affiliates or branches.
In the fiscal notice says 90,000 in 2020. I just didn't know what that.
it's not much. You're right.
Yeah, what's the,
Which
it
made it easy to pass too. Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. Is it for a certain organization?
It's not for a certain organization, it's just to be used by community development organizations.
So everybody get $5,000?
Maybe.
All right,
I mean,
I got no
help-
problem, I got no problem
Yeah,
with
just
it.
help supplement what they're trying to do.
Okay.
Senator Hellman. Okay, 429.
Senate Bill 429 is joint with Triple E. It is the same as Senate Bill 599. As it passed the Senate, it passed unanimously. This is on the on-farm organics and waste food reduction.
So we're
A version of
conforming it to the Senate amendments.
Yes,
Second.
Okay, all those in favor as amended?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 478.
478 is in the same posture as Senate Bill 262 passed the House,
All
the
those in
Senate.
favor? Opposed? Let's see. Well, somebody else had that one. We don't have to do the organics.
Right.
Okay. 660.
Yeah. And I agree with the House amendments.
Yep, this is fine. We're going to raise this one. We had two bills on libraries. This was the least expensive one, quite frankly, because the other one's a lot more complicated because it goes across this whole state. But the House did was they used our numbers on the more broader one, which was my bill, and they decided to move this one up to the original numbers. So you get there's a little more money on this one. We had tried to put both of them in the same posture, if you will, but they've decided to go that. I'm fine with spending more money on it, quite frankly. I was trying to be a little more conservative. But
You are such a conservative.
So.
Move favorable.
All those in favor?
Such a good bill. It's a great bill.
Opposed? Okay. Pot pie, man. Chicken pot pie. They are good. All right. Didn't we just do this one? 734?
Just heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the House cross file to Senate Bill 344, but Senate Bill 344 did not pass unanimously on the floor, so.
Oh. All those in favor? Opposed? Opposed? Three. Okay. Okay, so we have a floor leader on that somehow. 872. Okay. All those in favor? Okay, Senator Benson, you got that bill. You are going to do that one on the floor. Yeah. All right. 1156. Yes.
Quick question. On this one, can we just hold this for now? Something to work on when I was talking.
Sure.
Circle back on tomorrow. Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
I need to hold 1247.
We need to hold the next one. And then 1623. We have to hold I think he's got some technical amendments or something to do on this. We're gonna, he's
For 1247, I just need an updated letter from the Montgomery County delegation.
from the Prince George's County government.
Well, it's by county bill. So, I have one from Montgomery County, but then I believe Prince George's County senators added an amendment, and so I need an updated letter. So
Okay?
Senator Rosenblatt, did you have that amendment? 1247?
I'm sorry. Got distracted. What's the issue? Seriously.
There's a delegation bill, 1247.
Yep.
Tax increment financing. It appears that there was an amendment?
What is the amendment?
there was an amendment.
This is the sphere project, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the amendment, but
I don't think we have an amendment.
I was told that there was from delegation council. Delegation council.
We talked about an amendment,
And the letter said that it was amended.
but you don't know what the amendment is.
The letter we have received says it was amended?
Mm-hmm.
All of these things could be simultaneously true.
I mean, we're voting tomorrow.
Yeah, let's figure this one out. This is important.
Yeah, I have the amendment number. If I can.
So you have the amendment number on the letter.
Oh, but no words.
Okay?
Yeah, they didn't provide the amendment.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
Okay? 1623.
1623, this bill updates the public local laws of Montgomery County pertaining to the Village of Drummond, requires the Village Council of Drummond
They
to
got
constitute
everything.
governing body.
They turned everything in.
Yep.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Senator Zucker, who has Drummond? Do you?
No.
No.
Drummond?
That's your district?
No, but I love Drummond.
Okay.
They love you too.
Zucker's got it. That concludes everything for today.